We are looking at and discussing The Meeting by Jean-Honoré Fragonard, a French Rococo painting from 1773. Rococo being the dominant aesthetic style that reflected the tastes of the aristocracy that had ascended into power, this very wealthy French upper class after Louis XIV had left the throne and died.
So this is the kind of painting that would have been used to decorate the palaces of Versailles of the very top elite in France.
So the court.
The court, that's right. But the court is not a court of law. It's the sort of the highest social strata of French society. Yeah, it's the nobility.
And generally, we see a pretty light-hearted scene here. We see it formally, I suppose, softness, the frothiness.
Right. Softness, I think, is maybe an understatement.
It is.
It's quite light.
But isn't that really the issue? Because French court life and even the ministries around the king were really being criticized at this time for not taking, in a sense, the matters of state seriously, for not being involved in any kind of sacrifice or sort of, there was just a sense of tremendous indulgence that pervaded society at this time.
Well, it seems that Fragonard wasn't trying to do anything in terms of politics or in terms of realism or in terms of anything like that. He was answering a particular
Madame de Berry.
commission.
Yeah, she commissioned the whole cycle, really. It's because this is embedded in a cycle of paintings.
So he's really, I mean, the point is that he's sort of doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that he was commissioned to produce paintings, and the woman who commissioned them is looking for a particular style.
But what's interesting is that when the paintings are actually finished in 1773, which is really late in the Rococo period, she actually rejects them, and she may have rejected them in part because the style was getting, well, just a little tired by this time.
A little bit old.
A little bit old, but also there are some rumors, at least, that she rejected them because she thought that the two young people that are represented actually in this painting, The Meeting, looked a little bit too much like her, and perhaps a little too much like Louis XV, the king, with whom she actually had an illicit affair. And this painting is about an illicit affair. It's about a kind of playful sexuality, right?
Which we can see from the sort of theatricality of the lighting, the way that the woman is lit so brightly, and you could see everything about the fabric of her dress, which is very luxurious.
It is. But it's also clearly illicit because she's asking him to wait. He's climbing up a ladder into this private little balcony here, right? This garden, which is all about fertility. It's all clearly sexual in its orientation. He's climbing up, but she's looking away from him, and her hand is back as if to say, hold off, wait a moment, let me make sure that the coast is clear.
These gestures are very clear, aren't they? Very clearly and theatrically rendering the story for us so that one knows what's going on with this illicit affair. And the symbolism, the classical symbolism commenting on the scene is also very clear. It's Venus and Cupid who show us that this is about love. It's an amorous escapade that's going on.
There's nothing subtle here.
No. Well, that kind of playfulness, that artificiality really relates to the aristocracy and that kind of culture at the time, which is not taking things seriously and sort of caught up in its own...
In pleasure, really. Yeah. This is about pleasure. And in fact, when the revolution takes place a little more than a decade from now, even when David's new painting, with its rigorous formality and its return to classicism, its return to, in a sense, the rigorous sort of structures of the Renaissance, looking back to the classical world, this painting is going to be seen as indulgent, as and largely as irrelevant, and as an expression of the corruption of this old ruling order of the aristocracy that will be replaced viciously, of course, by the revolutionaries.
So it will fall out of favor in terms of its form. It will be, this softness will be replaced by those lines, hard linearity of neoclassicism. Its subject matter, light-hearted, amorous affairs, in favor of more moral themes about public life. And then, of course, politically, the classicism won't be a way to symbolize authority and power for David and the neoclassicists, but will be a way through which one can think about public life and ethics and coming towards the French Revolution in 1789.
But God, this is a great rendering of that froth that came before, isn't it?
Yes, it's perfect. It's top-notch froth.